Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Dwyer and I'm a languages advisor with the Languages and Culture team. And together I am here today to very excited to walk you through our Modern Greek resource set for the Modern Languages K-10 syllabus. Today I acknowledge that I'm presenting from the lands of the Darkinjung people on the Central Coast. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. We recognise the ongoing custodians of the lands and waterways where we work and live. We pay respect to elders past and present as ongoing teachers of knowledge, songlines and stories, and we strive to ensure that every Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander learner in New South Wales achieves their potential through education. So let's start by looking at our Modern Greek resource set. Where is it and where can it be found? In our resource set for Modern Greek, we have included a scope and sequence for stages 4 and 5, including a teacher version and a student-friendly scope and sequence infographic, a unit of work with 39 accompanying resources, a student-friendly unit of work infographic, an assessment task with marking guidelines, and a sample response. It's important to note that each of these inclusions are samples and not a directive of what to teach. We have provided each of these elements so that you can see how the new syllabus can be applied to Stage 4 and Stage 5 Modern Greek and to support you in your planning and teaching. You can use these resources in several ways, as they are, so you can find everything you need to pick up and teach it. This gives you and your students a whole term to experience the new syllabus's content and pedagogy. As a resource or ideas bank to pick and choose parts to use and adapt to and suit your context, or as a means to build your understanding, to support you to create your own programming resources. We'll now show you the thinking behind some of the resources as an example of how to implement the new syllabus. The resources are published on our website, which you can access by visiting our webpage. The address is shown on the screen. Click on the Planning, Programming and Assessing Modern Languages 7 to 10 page, and then click on the Modern Greek tab, which will bring you to our Modern Greek support. Scroll down the web page until you see the Modern Languages K-10 syllabus support for Modern Greek 2022 heading. Underneath this is where you'll find our new support for Modern Greek. Let's take a look at our Stage 4 and 5 Modern Greek scope and sequences. Before planning our Stage 4 unit of work, we first mapped out a sample scope and sequence for Stage 4. It's important to note that our department scope and sequence documents contain more information than what's required by NESA. We believe that the additional information better supports both you and your students, which is ultimately our goal when we create them. Like all our resources, please modify them to suit your context. Our scope and sequence includes the term and duration. You will see it's 100 hours for Stage 4 and our sample units have been designed as 10-week units, so they are a full term of learning. You may adjust these to suit your context and to align with assessment periods at your school. To support reporting, which may or may not fall at the end of the term, the units include a range of assessment ideas in the form of mini tasks. Learning overview. This provides the unit title and a description of what students will learn. Outcomes. The 3 syllabus outcomes are covered in every unit. However, please note that not every content dot point is addressed in every unit. The content dot points all need to be addressed over the course of a stage and are considered essential learning in order for students to meet the outcomes. Skills. We've included the communication and language skills for each unit as a guide to student learning during the unit. Having them there helps cross-check them quickly with other units across the stages to ensure that you see a growth in skills within each stage and across the stages. Language should be constantly recycled and built upon. And assessment. We've designed an assessment task for each unit of work, ensuring that all outcomes are assessed across the stage. We've also demonstrated interrelated tasks that assess more than one outcome. These are samples and not directives, so remember that assessment requirements are school-based decisions, so you may assess individual or multiple outcomes depending on your context. And remember, of course, that these documents are not prescriptive. You can absolutely design your scope and sequences differently. We provide extra information to support teachers, so your way is okay too. These are the topics we've included in our scope and sequences for stage 4 and stage 5. And the highlighted topic is the unit of work that we've fully developed in this set of modern Greek resources, which is titled, Do You Like School? We've created student-facing infographics of the scope and sequences. And as with the unit of work infographic, which you'll see later on, they could be displayed in your classroom or given to students so that they know the language learning journey that they will embark on. You can even include them in school newsletters and subject selection books. These visuals are engaging for students and can build excitement towards their language learning. You can adapt our versions or you can create your own. The editable links to all of these designs on Canva are provided within the resources. Now we'll move on to unpacking our stage 4 unit of work, Do You Like School? When you access our unit of work, you'll notice that it is a long document. We want to acknowledge this and explain why. Our units of work are standalone resources. They include everything you need to teach the unit, everything from teaching and learning activities and student resources to mini tasks and formal summative assessment tasks. The unit of work has a unit description, including timing and what communication and language skills will be covered. Student prior learning is also addressed, so you know our intended expectations of skills that the students need prior to doing the unit of work. This also means you know what to pre-teach if you want to pick up and teach this unit. You do not need to use all of the unit. You can use parts of it, take activities from it, and use them in your own context or even with units of other languages. Timeframes, formative assessment and summative assessment tasks, teaching and learning activities, and reflection and feedback opportunities should be adjusted to suit your context, including the specific strengths and needs of students. And just like the scope and sequences, there is a student-friendly unit of work infographic available for you to use or adapt. Again, this is a good way to provide students with an overview of where they are heading in the unit, and the editable link is found within the unit as well. So when creating this unit of work, one of our main priorities was to ensure all teaching and learning activities were underpinned by explicit teaching pedagogy. And this focus aligns with the department's plan for public education. In addition to this unit uses a range of strategies to encourage student participation and engagement. Learning is regularly linked to students' worlds, encouraging them to make connections and appreciate the relevance of the learning in a meaningful way. Activities with points or prize systems are included to facilitate enjoyment in learning, and the unit also includes activities which can be completed outside or involve physical movement to improve student concentration to lessen the cognitive load through combining learning and movement. Next, when crafting this unit of work, we also included listening resources. We know that as language teachers, authentic and relevant listening resources can be hard to find. So we've included a number of listening activities with accompanying audio files in this unit of work. Finally, we have also considered inclusivity. We've endeavoured to ensure that all students are represented in the learning. Teaching activities have suggested differentiation strategies to assist teachers in considering how the activities can be adapted to ensure the participation of all students. Our mini task progress checkpoints are formative assessment opportunities backward mapped from the end of unit summative task. There are 3 included in our unit after each learning sequence, and these support students to identify where they are on their learning journey in relation to meeting the requirements of the summative task. So if you find your students need more time to complete the unit, you can also use these mini tasks as summative tasks. Please see our support as flexible, which you can use as it is, or you can adapt to your context. The teaching, learning and assessment activities have been chunked into lesson sequences, each with their own learning intentions and success criteria, as well as the relevant vocabulary and grammatical structures. Sequenced learning reflects explicit teaching, whereby students can access prior knowledge to reduce cognitive load, and paced instruction with modelling and examples to help ease the burden on working memory. So in this unit, the lesson sequences range from 2 to 4 weeks. Within each learning sequence are our teaching and learning activities. Each one is aligned to syllabus content dot points and underpinned by explicit teaching pedagogy. You can see these in bold after each activity. In the modern languages context, the outcomes in the syllabus are very broad. So the true richness of the syllabus lies in the content dot points. So each time we've chosen the dot point or dot points, which align most strongly to the activity, but there may be others. And by aligning these dot points to activities, we're showcasing what the syllabus looks like in the classroom. It also helps you to see the breadth of content covered in each unit. We recommend including and tracking them within and across your units to ensure that you cover all of them across the scope of a year. Our unit also includes differentiation strategies for students requiring additional support, high potential and gifted students, and students with advanced proficiency in the target language. These strategies are neither exhaustive nor definitive. They're just examples of how we can differentiate activities and tasks to meet the needs of a range of students. This example is how we provided differentiation for mini task 3, which requires students to participate in a speed friending style interaction to practice new structures about their subject preferences. Throughout the unit, we've included opportunities for student self-reflection to support students to gain ownership of their learning, to build a deeper understanding of how the language can be applied to the summative task, as well as to identify which skills they need to strengthen and where they can go for help. Likewise, we've added a checkpoint to remind teachers to reflect on the learning so far and to provide an opportunity to consider what adjustments are required. Next, brain breaks are a feature that we've incorporated into the Modern Greek unit of work. They are used to lessen cognitive load, allow students concentrations capabilities to replenish, and to improve focus and attention. The most effective type of brain breaks are ones which use both sides of the brain. In our unit, we've incorporated brain breaks which are still connected to the learning, but that also incorporate an element of movement, ultimately igniting both sides of the brain. So please take a moment to read through the examples on the screen now. Next, exit tickets appear throughout our units of work in each chunk of learning. The first exit ticket on the screen is an example of how they could be used as a quick way to check for understanding and provide the teacher with a quick snapshot of the progress that students have made that lesson. They usually increase in difficulty as the unit progresses and as the level of language the students are learning increases in complexity. The second exit ticket is an example of how this activity can be differentiated depending on the student's ability. So now that we've had a look at the features of the unit of work, let's take a look at some of the activities. Remember, the teaching and learning activities within this unit demonstrate the outcomes in action with outcome dot points from the Modern Languages syllabus aligned to teaching and learning activities. They contain hyperlinks to the resources that you need to do each activity. They unpack the pedagogy behind each activity. They contain suggestions for differentiation or any variations, and they have a focus on inclusivity for our learners. As we've said, this unit of work is designed to be pick up and teach. So we have included a number of PowerPoints to explain key language points. For example, there are separate PowerPoints to explain to students information about schooling in Greece, how to say the time in Greek, and how to specify and describe school subjects. These PowerPoints also include activities to help you practice the structures with your class. The PowerPoints can be downloaded and edited to suit your context. And here you can see the content dot point from the syllabus aligned to an activity which is using a PowerPoint titled, "What time is it?" You'll also see that the unit of work includes activities that introduce and drill language structures. There are a variety of tools used to showcase variation in how vocabulary can be introduced and practiced with students. For example, flashcards with accompanying activities, games, and interacting activities. On the topic of interacting, we know that interacting is a huge focus of the new syllabus, and it can be challenging to consider how to get students to interact with each other spontaneously in Greek. The unit includes a range of activities to promote interaction between students in an authentic and relevant way. Some of the interacting activities include information gap activities, story cubes, dialogue prompts and scaffolds, as well as a range of games like one pen, one dice, vocabulary games using flashcards, and games using mini whiteboards, and many more. So here on the screen, you can see an example of how an interacting activity is described in the unit of work with examples and aligned to content dot points and an outcome. Next, remember that one of the priorities when creating this unit of work was to include listening tasks to help Stage 4 students develop this skill. We've created resources with a variety of listening activities, and each listening activity includes a transcript and answers. Remember that all of our resources are editable, so if you need to, you can change the content for your own context and read or record the content yourself. Here you can see an example of how the listening activity is described in the unit of work and aligned to content dot points and an outcome. Next, using games in language teaching is a great way to motivate students, a way to provide input as well as extensive practice of language structures. This unit of work includes many games, and we have mapped everything out logically for the teacher. Each resource includes an explanation of the game, including the rules and any cards or images that you need, and ideas for variations and differentiation strategies. Finally, some of the teaching and learning activities in the unit of work include links to other resources online, such as websites and videos. We've created worksheets or other activities to complement these existing resources online. So here you can see how viewing YouTube videos about days of the week and the Greek school system are incorporated into the unit of work with accompanying activities. You can also see the content dot point from the syllabus aligned to these activities. So before we conclude today, I'd like to point out a few more avenues for our support for the new syllabus. If you have not already completed it, the Micro-Learning Modern Languages K-10 syllabus from planning to practice on MyPL is an excellent introduction to the new syllabus. The 90-minute support package developed for the 2024 Term 2 School Development Day, which focused on the Modern Languages K-10 syllabus, is still available to access. Don't forget, we also have a statewide staff meeting each term, and there are 11 local language networks across New South Wales where you can work closely with our team and meet your colleagues. And finally, please feel free to contact us, myself, or any of the Languages and Culture team if you have any questions or need advice or support. We are always happy to assist. Our contact details can be found on our website. Thank you so much for joining us at the launch of the Modern Greek suite of resources and for viewing this recording. And a quick shout out and a huge thank you to our subject matter experts, Greek teachers from New South Wales who have helped to develop these resources and to review them. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed the resources.